The gate to Eden closed, sealed by a fiery sword and an angel's watch. Adam and Eve stood outside, the warmth of paradise fading behind them. Before them lay a world of thorns, hard ground, and cold nights. The perfect fellowship with God was fractured, sorrow weighed on their hearts. They had tasted the fruit, and now the bitterness of consequence. Life became toil. Adam's hands grew calloused. Eve felt the pain of a broken world. Every sunrise reminded them of loss. Every sunset brought fear. Yet God had not abandoned them. He clothed them and left a promise. One day, a descendant of Eve would crush the serpent. This hope was a flicker in their darkness. Eve gave birth to Cain, then Abel, two sons born outside Eden's walls. Their parents taught them about God, the lost garden, and the hope for redemption. In this harsh new world, they clung to the promise, moving forward one step at a time. The story of humanity began not in perfection, but in struggle and hope. Even in exile, God's presence lingered. The world was changed, but not forsaken. Adam and Eve's journey was now one of faith, not sight. The promise of restoration was their anchor. The first family learned to live, love, and hope beyond Eden. The story of redemption had just begun. Cain and Abel grew, each forging his own path. Cain, the farmer, worked the soil, drawing life from the earth through sweat and strength. Abel, the shepherd, cared for his flocks, living in quiet trust and stewardship. When the time came to offer gifts to God, Cain brought produce from his fields, fruits of his labor. Abel brought the best of his flock, a costly sacrifice, acknowledging life itself belonged to God. Cain's offering reflected his own effort, Abel's his faith and devotion. God looked with favor on Abel's gift, seeing the heart behind it. Cain's offering was not accepted, not for its substance, but for the spirit in which it was given. The brothers' choices revealed the divide between pride and faith. Their offerings became a crossroads, one of self-reliance, the other of surrender. In this moment, the seeds of conflict were sown. The path of the heart would shape their destinies. God's favor on Abel ignited a storm in Cain's heart. Jealousy and anger consumed him. His face fell. God reached out. "Why are you angry? If you do what is right, will you not be accepted?" Cain stood at a crossroads. Resentment or repentance. God warned him, "Sin is crouching at your door. It desires to have you, but you must rule over it." The warning was clear. Cain was not helpless. He could choose. But Cain's pride blinded him to the path of restoration. The battle was not just with his brother, but within himself. God's voice offered hope, but Cain's heart hardened. The choice between grace and bitterness hung in the balance. The story was no longer about offerings, but about the struggle within the human soul. Cain's next step would change everything. The first family's legacy teetered on the edge of tragedy. God's warning echoed, a chance for mercy or a descent into darkness. The outcome rested in Cain's hands. Cain ignored God's warning. Consumed by jealousy, he lured Abel into the field and killed him, brother against brother. The earth, once cursed for Adam's sake, now drank innocent blood. God confronted Cain. "Where is your brother Abel?" Cain lied, "I don't know. Am I my brother's keeper?" God declared, "Your brother's blood cries out to me from the ground." Judgment fell. Cain was cursed, condemned to wander, cut off from the land and his family. The first murder shattered the fragile hope outside Eden. Sin's consequences deepened, echoing through the generations. Yet even in judgment, God's justice and sorrow were clear. The ground bore witness. The world was forever changed. The cost of envy and pride was written in blood. Cain despaired, fearing for his life, but God marked him for protection, a sign of both judgment and mercy. Cain became a wanderer, building a city, fathering a line marked by achievement and violence. Adam and Eve mourned, losing both sons in a single day, yet hope returned. Eve bore another son, Seth, appointed by God. Through Seth, the promise endured. A new line of faith began. People once more called on the name of the Lord. Amidst pain and loss, God's grace persisted. The story of redemption continued through a faithful remnant. Even outside Eden, hope was not lost. The dawn of grace shone in the darkness, pointing to a future restoration.